Halo is a game that's always been special to me. Ever since those days of sneaking Combat Evolved past my friend's mom and locking ourselves in his room for hours playing, Halo has been one of, if not my absolute, favorite franchises in gaming. When I made the decision to choose the PS4 as my first and main console this generation, I did so understanding that I would possibly be missing out on Halo. However, I also understood that Halo 5 would eventually be coming, and if it was awesome, I'd probably end up picking up an Xbox One. I mean, after all, I picked up a 360 over the PS3, based solely on the fact that the 360 had Halo. On the other hand, both the changes in Halo 4 and the apparent changes that Halo 5 was making by the looks of the gameplay reveal left me worried that the series was moving toward a more twitchy, modern type of gameplay experience, an experience that I would leave behind. I mean, after all, I'm not really into buying games just because of the name. I want to buy a game I'm actually going to enjoy, and especially when it comes to Halo, I want to buy a Halo game that I really think is going to be Halo. Also, as appealing as the prospect of the Master Chief Collection was, the pure fact is I already own all of the Halo games on my other Xbox consoles. Furthermore, bugs left the allure of returning to multiplayer basically moot. Yesterday, I decided to give 343 the benefit of the doubt though, and I spent the night playing the Halo 5 Guardians beta. A friend of mine actually owns an Xbox One with the Halo 5 beta, because he owns the Master Chief Collection, obviously, and he decided to bring his Xbox over so that I could give the beta a try. I spent, I don't even know how long playing the beta. I played countless matches, and I think I can give a pretty good opinion on what I feel about the beta, coming from somebody who, honestly, is a pretty long-time Halo player. So this was my decision. Was this going to be the game that would make me buy an Xbox One, or was I going to be leaving the franchise behind? This is Eddie with Player 2 Gaming, and these are my thoughts on the Halo 5 Guardians beta. Overall, I feel that Halo 5 Guardians is a good game. In fact, all of the gameplay mechanics come together to create a very fluid, fun experience that kept me engaged and on my toes. However, I'm sad to say that Guardians is not a good Halo game. My predictions were correct. 343 has abandoned the features that made Halo so different from other games, and it's hard to discuss Guardians without bringing up comparisons to other popular shooters on the market, such as Titanfall, Destiny, and Call of Duty. These aren't bad games, however, they are vastly different from the core Halo experience, the experience that has made the franchise so great to me. Unlike Halo 4, a game that I feel made a lot of changes, some that were questionable, but that remained true to what Halo is at its core, Halo 5 has changed some of the basic gameplay fundamentals that has defined the series. That's not to say that I was disappointed with the experience as a whole, and I feel that some aspects actually are taking steps in the right direction for the series. I'll start with discussing some of the pros that I liked about the beta. First and foremost, I really like that 343 has reintroduced Equal Start into Halo. Equal Start is something that's been core at least to the first 3 Halo games. What that basically means is that each player begins with the exact same guns and the exact same skill set, or lack of skill set, if you're playing Halo 1, 2, or 3. What Equal Start does is it just creates a more fair playing field, and it relies on skill more than luck or abilities. And I really do like that 343 has reintroduced Equal Start, because Equal Start was kind of absent in Reach and was pretty much completely absent in 4 because of the ordnance drops and the plethora of Spartan abilities. With Equal Start comes more of a focus on weapon and map control. Again, something that I do like that is in the Halo 5 beta. Weapon and map control basically means that the player has to rely on their knowledge of the weapons and the power weapons that will randomly spawn on the map instead of ordnance drops, as well as have to be able to know how to play the map and how to play it smart so that they can be the ones to get those crucial power weapons and rank up the kills. I'm glad that Equal Start, weapon, and map control are all back in the Halo 5 beta. Something else that I'm really glad to see return is the SMG. This is kind of just a personal thing, but I've always really liked the SMG. I've always been an automatic weapons player, and I especially like the introduction of the SMG in Halo 2. Although 5, at least at the time of this recording, doesn't have dual wielding, which is something I like to do with the SMG, I'm happy to see the gun get its return. There is only one armor ability that I do like in Halo 5, and that's Clamber. I think clamber actually adds a bit of skill. A lot of people don't like it because it kind of takes away from trick jumping, but I actually like clamber because basically what it is if you miss a platform jump, but you're right there, you can just press the A button, it'll clamber up. I think it's really cool because it's not super obnoxious like a lot of the other movements, which I'll get into in a little bit, and it does require skill. You have to time that A press right. If you do it too early or too late, you're not going to clamber up. Also, clamber is balanced because it leaves the player vulnerable after they clamber up to getting shot. In fact, that's my last thing that I did like about Halo 5. Despite all of the Spartan abilities that I don't like, which again I will touch on in a bit, I do like that they're all balanced. If you use Smart Scope too much, you can get descoped, and getting descoped will kind of make you flinch in a way, and it ruins your shot. And so you don't. It makes the player not Smart Scope all the time. If you sprint, you can't recharge your shields. If you ground pound, that leaves you really vulnerable in the air to getting shot, and ground pound will leave you vulnerable after the pound for a couple seconds, getting back up and recovering. Even the thruster pack, you can't shoot while you're thruster packing, so if you have a player with a really good aim, they can shoot you while you're thruster packing. I like that there's all of those balances so that no ability is taken advantage of too much. This leads into the cons, and I unfortunately have a lot more cons than I do pros about the Halo 5 beta. My biggest cons are the Spartan abilities as a whole. I understand Spartan abilities are nothing new to Halo, but they're a lot more prevalent in Halo 5, and although each Spartan starts on equal ground, each Spartan starts on equal ground with 6 or 7 Spartan abilities. That's a lot, and there are a lot of Spartan abilities that can be taken advantage of. So although they put out the guise that, players can't really pick their Spartan abilities anymore, they kind of just gave every player every Spartan ability, and that's frustrating, because it kind of makes it not feel like Halo anymore. I'll start off with Sprint. Sprint is something I would have been able to live with. I actually liked it in Reach because not everybody could sprint. You had to sacrifice that being your armor ability. And I didn't mind it in Halo 4 because I felt like it was kind of slowed down. It wasn't too much, and it kind of just, honestly, it made Halo 4 feel more relevant in today's modern gaming world. I didn't necessarily mind it. This sprint, to me, is far too fast. And with this sprint comes this slide mechanic. And sliding basically means that the character, after you're done sprinting, if you press the crouch button, you slide, kind of like in other games, like Call of Duty, or I do it a lot in Destiny. And the problem with slide is that it just makes it way too easy for characters to escape a fight, and it makes it harder for the character who is aiming to keep aiming. It's just kind of a frustrating escape move that I don't like. I also don't like the ground pound, something I mentioned earlier. It's a one-hit kill. Actually, both the ground pound and the Spartan thrust, which is kind of like the Titan shoulder charge in Destiny, they're both one-hit kill melees. Melee was kind of an art form in Halo. You had to really learn how to use the melee mechanics, especially when they introduced those cool assassinations. I do like assassinations in Reach and in 4. That's kind of gone. It's a one-hit kill that everybody has the opportunity to do. With time to kill already being so small in Halo 5, something else I'll mention soon, I feel like a one-hit kill that every player has is just kind of unbalanced, and I don't like that mechanic at all. I also don't like the thruster pack. The thruster pack is kind of like what was used in Titanfall and Advanced Warfare, where you have these jets on your back and you can kind of thrust out of the way if a shooter's trying to shoot you. It's cool in other games, and I don't necessarily think it's a bad mechanic in theory, but it doesn't work in Halo. It doesn't feel like Halo. I don't like it. I don't like it in the Halo universe, and it frustrates me because it's not like the thruster pack in Reach, or I think thruster pack was in 4. I may be wrong about that, but it definitely was in Reach, and it's not like that because you can still shoot while you're thrusting. Kind of you thrust out of the way for a second, and you can't shoot, but then you can shoot again. And it's just I understand that it is balanced because you can't shoot for a second while you're moving, but it's just a little too easy, and it's, again, just a really easy way for players to escape a fight. The biggest Spartan ability that I have a problem with, the one that a lot of Halo players have a problem with, is the Smart Scope. The Smart Scope, regardless of what 343 tries to say, regardless of the fact that they insist that this is not an aim-down sight, it is. It operates like an aim-down sight. It even looks like an aim-down sight. They tried to say that it was just a reskinning of the zoom feature from past Halos, and that players wouldn't be penalized who hip fire. This is not the case. There's videos on YouTube, you can look them up, of players actually shooting at walls, and it shows that there's a lot of bullet spread when you don't aim down sights, or smart scope as they call it, and when you do smart scope, you have more precise shots. First off, that is not Halo at all. Halo, that is one of the core things. Halo is different from other games. It's set aside from other games. This smart scope aim down sight makes it feel like just another generic shooter. Secondly, and my biggest issue with it, is that the aim down sight / smart scope, whatever you want to call it, I'm just calling it an ADS because that's what it is. It puts way too much of an advantage on automatic weapons. Again, I'm an automatic player, so I definitely know the way automatic weapons operate in Halo. I was shooting characters mid-map, even cross-map, with my assault rifle or with my SMG in the beta. That could never happen in past Halo games. If I came across a player who was good with a battle rifle and he was mid-map, I was going to be the one who got killed unless I got out of the way. That doesn't work. The weapons are imbalanced, honestly, because if you look at the beta, most players are usually using the SMG or the assault rifle. So it just creates too much imbalance, and it just doesn't feel like Halo. They even have it mapped to the left trigger. You can't tell me that it's not supposed to be a crucial part of the game when they have it mapped to such an important button on the gamepad itself. There are other things that frustrate me about the beta, but things that aren't necessarily as big of a deal as these Spartan abilities. Those really irritate me. Graphically, the game was a little dark. This may be due to it being a beta, so I can forgive that. Maybe the textures were not up to par, so they kind of darkened the palette a little bit. This is something that can obviously be fixed. This also could be that, the game was playing on Truth, which is a remake of Midship, and that particular map is dark on its own, but I could almost barely see the blue players when I would be red team, so it's a little dark, but that can be fixed. Also, speaking of design, I don't like the sound design in the game. It's just kind of obnoxious and it's too much. First off, I don't like that the guns sound a little wimpy, especially you take something like the Magnum. It sounds like a Nerf gun or something, and this is especially disappointing because I loved the sound design in Halo 4. I thought that was the best sound design in the games. And the Halo 2 Anniversary sound redesign is also really good, so I'm disappointed to see that the guns sound so wimpy. I also don't like that there's this little beeping indicator when you do damage. You already have a hit marker, which I don't even like that they put a hit marker, but that's forgivable. So why do they have this little beeping sound that happens every time you put damage on a player? It gets really obnoxious really fast. The Spartans talking to each other just get really annoying because if the Spartans would actually talk about things that were relevant to the match, I wouldn't mind it, but they will, like, if another player picks up a DMR, their Spartan will say, DMR picked up, and in my head I'm like, I don't care, just let me keep playing, you can use your DMR. It's just too much sound happening at once. The time to kill is a bit too fast in the game. Other players have mentioned this. I think something that I've really liked about Halo is that you don't kill a player instantly like in a military shooter. It takes some time. You really have to fire at the player, or you have to get those precise headshots to get the kill. This time to kill is way, way, way too fast in Halo 5, and it's something that needs to be revised. Finally, I think medals are too often given away. Actually, you're given a medal every time you make a kill. That's far too much. Medals before were kind of a way to show how good or not good you were at Halo. Now medals are kind of given away a dime a dozen, and they're not really important anymore. In conclusion, I don't like Halo 5, and I'm sure if you listen to this whole video, you can already tell. Time will tell what the game becomes. This is, after all, a beta, but you're crazy if you think that they're going to completely change all of the game mechanics in a year. They know what they're doing, and these new abilities are here to stay. I'm not going to comment on how the story could be. Despite the fact that I wasn't crazy about Halo 4's gameplay mechanics, I thought that was possibly the best story in the Master Chief saga. I really enjoyed Halo 4's campaign a lot, and Halo 5's could be good, who knows. But as far as gameplay goes, I'm not a fan, and this game will not have me picking up an Xbox One. Thanks for watching and hearing my thoughts on the beta. I want to know what you think. Leave a comment below. Did you like the beta? Did you not like the beta? What aspects do you or don't you like? Am I just a whiny Halo fanboy? I want to know. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on Player 2 Gaming. This is Eddie. Have a good one.